So as you know, some of Bill 96's amendments were included at the last minute without consulting some of the groups, bodies, organizations that they would affect. So without consulting CEGEP administrators, pedagogical experts, or teachers, well, Anglo CEGEPs were changed in this province. This has left them feeling out of the loop, and not for the first time. Joining us now to tell us more is John McMahon, Director General of Vanier College. John, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you very much, Elias. Great to be with you.
Okay, so now that the law was passed last week, it will get the royal assent tomorrow and become real deal legislation. How many details do you actually have, John?
Well, we don't have the details that we require. We know certain things, obviously, as does the public and has been reported in media, but there are a number of questions that we have in terms of the implementation of the bill and what the requirements will be and what those requirements will mean for our colleges and our students and our faculty.
Do we know the start date for the new French courses? Is that set in stone or is that up for debate?
That apparently is the fall of 2024.
Okay.
So 2 years from now. So the cohort that begins their CEGEP studies in the fall of 2024, those requirements would apply to them.
Okay. Already getting a question on the text line, and it relates to what you just said. So if you start, for instance, in fall of 2023, you're under the old regime. It's not retroactive at all, starting in the following year.
Correct. That's our understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's get to the questions here. Specifically, let's talk about the new courses, right, that are in French. And correct me if I'm wrong. There's two options here. Either new courses in French or you do some core courses in French. Both options available, right?
For the ayant droit or the English students, yes, that's correct.
Okay, gotcha. And do you have any idea how you will implement those new requirements?
Well, that's going to be the challenge because what we're looking at now is we're going to effectively have students who complete a program in our colleges, three different sets of requirements. So we're going to have students, the non-ayant droit or the Francophone and Anglophone students who will be able to, complete the requirements of the program. But the ayant droit or English students, there'll be two groups. The higher level students, those with higher French second language level, they will be able to satisfy the program requirements and the French requirements by taking the same course. So they may opt to take program courses in French. But for those students who don't feel proficient enough in French to take program courses in French, they will still have to complete the program requirements in English, but they will have to take three additional French second language courses. And our concern would be that could add a semester to their study. So instead of completing a 2-year pre-university program in the 2 years, they may have to take an extra semester for those three additional courses.
Oh my God! You know what? I hadn't thought of that. Right? It's 2 years for a reason here. People want to get on with things, and now adding those courses could make that 2 years impossible.
Yeah, or it could add to the stress in a given semester.
Mm-hmm.
And typically we know there's a correlation by and large with the students who would have a lower French second language level. Maybe they are students who require more assistance in their regular studies as well. So to add a burden to them to complete their CEGEP studies over and above what other students would be required to take is a little bit unfair.
Okay, let's talk about the level of these French courses. And I believe I heard Simon Jolin Barrette responding to the concerns of the Indigenous community, right? And they're like, listen, making us do these French courses, it's tough enough here, right? And I heard his response, and it was of the vein like, well, listen, these French courses, they'll be offered at all different types of level. Like there will be beginner, basically, back in my day, we would have called it Bobo French, like, so is that what you're hearing as well? Like for these three French courses, if you really know no French, they will be at a very, very basic beginner level.
Well, this is the problem, is these politicians, and throughout this entire process, including the last several weeks during the committees looking at various amendments, they are putting in amendments and they're putting in requirements with absolutely no consultation with those of us on the ground to really understand what it will mean to implement these. And often I've heard Monsieur Jean Barrette and others say, well, we'll let the Minister of Higher Education solve that once the bill is adopted. Well, we have not had those meetings with the Minister of Higher Education or his team effectively. The first meeting of that sort will occur next Monday, June 6th, and that'll be the first of many, many meetings that are required, because there are a lot of issues here that are simply not being looked at. And to listen to the conversations during those amendment committee hearings, it was very clear to us that the level of consultation between those drafting the bill and the Ministry of Higher Education was minimal at best and likely non-existent.
We're with the Director General of Vanier College, John McMahon, talking about Bill 96 effect on the Anglo-CEGEP system. John, who is going to teach the courses?
Well, that's the other issue. I mean, there's the difficulty right now in both the secondary and elementary system in terms of French second language teachers. And depending on how things proceed in terms of the implementation, we will have a significant requirement for French teachers. Not only the French second language teachers, but also those non-ayant droit, the Francophone and Anglophone students who will be required to take 3 French literature courses in order to pass the French exit exam. So there's going to be a significant need for French teachers, and to have an implementation in 2 years based on that and other factors, for us is simply unrealistic. We have been lobbying the Minister of Higher Education and the Minister of Justice to delay the implementation till at least the fall of 2025 in order to deal with that and numerous other issues that will be required in the next couple of years.
John, I want to get to the topic of growth. I would imagine wherever any workplace you're at, right? If you work somewhere, you probably have goals of making it a better place, a bigger place, a stronger place, growth, and all the things you can do in the future. This bill, though, caps Anglo-CEGEPs. You can never grow, not even by a spot, right? How does that feel to you, running a college, an institution like Vanier, where now by law you can never grow?
Well, it's just poor planning. I don't know of any other strategic plan that would cap a review of that plan for 10 years. We made the point when we presented to the minister and at the hearings last October that we wanted that cap reviewed in 3 years. And I was specifically asked as a member of the presentation committee, why? And I said, in 3 years, we don't know what the labor force requirements are going to be. Will there be a shortage in nursing? Will there be a shortage in respiratory technology? Will there be a shortage in Industry 4.0 programs? And if there is a shortage, our colleges, the English colleges that have contributed for more than 50 years in these areas to the growth of Quebec, well, we may be requested to expand the number of students in these programs to meet the needs of the labor force. But we're going to be frozen for 10 years, so we can't expand in those program areas. It makes no sense. We go back to our initial recommendation that should be reviewed in 3 years in order to be responsive to the needs in the community and in the labor force.
Are you worried about juggling numbers, and if you'll have to say no to people that don't deserve a no?
Absolutely. Admissions is not an exact science. People sometimes accept an offer to be admitted into a college. They might change minds in the weeks before classes start, and yet we will be held to a cap, a very firm cap, and there will be financial penalties if we exceed that cap. We again have asked for a buffer in order to be realistic to how college admissions and registration operates, but that has been refused. So we're kind of in a stage now, a concurrent stage, where we, as public colleges, we have an obligation to respect the law for sure, and we will do everything we can in the implementation phase to make sure we mitigate the adverse impact on our students, our faculty, and our programs. But at the same time, we are going to continue to express our concerns about aspects of this law that are either unacceptable or not workable or not implementable. So it's going to be a two-pronged process.
John, I hate to throw a curveball at you, and I have to wrap up, but I'm going to throw this curveball anyways. You ever thought about politics? You're such an eloquent speaker. You have such a great voice on issues. You ever think, okay, maybe I need to implement change another way?
Well, I haven't really. I mean, I'm passionate. I'm about to start my 42nd year in education.
Wow.
As an educator, principal, college administrator. I love education. I love students. And right now, my commitment and my passion remains in education.
Love when you bring the passion to the show. Thanks so much, John.
Thank you very much, Elias.
John McMahon,
Bye-bye.
Director General of Vanier College.